Hello everyone. How are you all doing today? Happy Wednesday. Happy to see all of you who are watching my videos. Yesterday I was reading A Course in Miracles lesson number 237 that says, "Now would I be as God created me." And I was talking about this thing that how to identify with the Holy Spirit and to remember to overlook the body while still living in the body, right? And I mentioned this thing that it's okay to have this body experience and to still uh, happen to think with the ego, right? Because to completely stop identifying with the ego is like how you're gonna function, right? But I also mentioned this thing like you seem to do the same things, right? That you would probably do even when you like never met this book or lessons, yeah? But while you seem to do the same things, you are having completely different thoughts. You know what I mean? Like, I can do my job, for example, yeah, but instead of judging people, even if my job is to be a judge, right? I'm doing this out of love, right? I remember the truth. I remember to laugh because I forget to laugh, yeah? Chris Miracles also mentioned this, like a son of God just forgot how to laugh, right? And while I'm seemingly doing the same things, yeah, in this physical world, but I'm having completely different thoughts. While I'm still identifying with this body, right, I am having completely different thoughts. I am seeing things differently, right? I am thinking differently, and I am being grateful that Holy Spirit is thinking His love and thoughts with me, right? I'm getting more happy. I'm getting more happier, right? I'm getting more calmer, right? I'm getting more relaxed. Even if like terrible things are happening around me, right? I'm getting more quiet, right? That's what's happening. And I guess the hair is in my ear. I mean eye. Not ear, but eye. Okay. Anyway, and while you still identify with your body, it's okay to happen thinking with the ego. You know what I mean? You may forgive your mistakes easier, right? Instead of suffering and having these terrible thoughts, right? You are having completely different thoughts. You happen to be happy, even like not having seeming reasons for you to be content or to be happy, right? That's what it means when it comes to spirituality, right? That's what it means when we are practicing these ideas. You don't have to be perfect or punishing yourself for not being good enough at doing these Crazy Miracles lessons, right? Or punishing yourself that you cannot forgive something. You are just doing the same things. If you need to go to the doctor, you just go to the doctor, but you remember the truth beyond this situation, right? If you need to, wherever, to go to some legal places and to sue someone, you just do that, right? If you need to leave abusive relationship, you just do that. If you need to report someone to get a restraining order or something like that, you just do that, right? Again, like I said before, like if your job is to be a judge, yeah, you just do your job, right? But you have completely different thoughts while you're doing this, right? You're being guided by the Holy Spirit how to see things, how to see people, and what to say, where to go, right? That's a completely different experience, right? Okay, the previous lesson said, now would I be as God created me? And I mentioned this thing like how to stay thinking with the Holy Spirit, yeah, how to identify with the Holy Spirit while you are living in the body, right? Because you remember that you are not a body, right? And God created me, and not this body, right? But as spirit. And I was mentioning those things in my previous video. All right. So and now I'm going to the next lesson, lesson 238. It says, on my decision, all salvation rests. It's all about decision I make, right? It's all about beliefs I have, because I make my decisions, yeah, my choices based on my beliefs, based on my thoughts, right? That's why I need to identify with the Holy Spirit so I can make the right decisions, right? The right ones. That's why it's all about beliefs, right? What I believe, what I think about this. If I think about my brother, how terrible they are, so I just unconsciously sending the signal to myself, right? How guilty I am. But if I stop judging my brother, thinking like, you know what? Yeah, I would probably find an excuse for myself, yeah, if I did the same. And maybe I can see my brother differently, right? And when I stop judging my brother, sending signal to myself that I am not guilty, I am pure love, I am innocent. That's what I'm doing, right? Okay, on my decision, all salvation rests. Father, your trust in me has been so great, I must be worthy. You created me and know me as I am, and yet you placed your Son's salvation in my hands. Let it rest on my decision. I must be beloved of you indeed, and I must be steadfast in holiness as well. That you would give your Son to me in certainty that he is safe, who still is part of you, and yet is mine because he is myself. He is myself, no separation, right? And so again, today, we pause to think how much our Father loves us and how dear his Son, created by his love, remains to him whose love is made complete in him. Today we remember that our decision made out of love are bringing more happiness to us, right? Than decisions that were made out of fear, right? That's why every time when you need to make any kind of decision, and we are making decisions like each moment of our life, right? You just remember to identify with the Holy Spirit, to identify with the right mind, right? And even if you just made this impulsive decision that was made out of fear, right? That's okay. That's also okay, because you just need to forgive your mistake, right? Because there are no sins, there are only mistakes according to A Course in Miracles, right? You easily forgive yourself and you choose again. That's it. And you make the other decision that is based on love, that is based on the right mind, right? Okay, that's what we're doing today. Have a great day practicing today's idea. Remember, each time when you are making your decision, make a decision with the Holy Spirit, and have a great time. Have fun. And see you in the next one. Bye-bye.